like to welcome you to our program, Raising Children with God. We're going to do this program on Easter, and we have as our guest tonight Father Paul O'Connell, the pastor of St. Mary's Parish in Shrewsbury. Welcome, Father.
Nice to see you again, John.
Thank you. We did a Christmas program, but we did it a little bit late, so we're very early for next Christmas, but we're going to be on time for Easter this year with this one. I think the idea came about the Easter program just over years, watching my own children, our own family, watching other families and other children, and it just seems over the past 10 to 20 years the emphasis has more and more and more shifted to the Easter Bunny and the goodies associated with Easter, and I think that's good. It's good for the children, it's good for the adults too, but I really wanted to talk tonight about the real Easter and the Easter that seems to have been left out over the past years. And in preparing for the program and reading a little bit, the first thing I came to think of was why it was called Easter. That's the first question I'd like to ask you tonight. Just your thoughts.
Well, I think there are many versions of that, I think. It depends on which book you're reading. But the word Easter apparently is an Old English word which has the meaning of kind of a spring festival, okay? Things coming to life again, and the whole symbolism of spring obviously is that things are coming back to life again, and the whole cycle of new birth, new life is taken up again. So that seems to be the derivation of the word Easter. Prior to that time, however, it was the Paschal feast, and Paschal obviously has a very religious background to it. Obviously identifying with the Passover of the ancient Jewish people, and then taking up with the death and resurrection of Jesus for the Christian believer, namely the passing over from death to new life. And again, the new life and springtime and all of those ideas and messages and themes coming together under the celebration of Easter. I think you're right, though, in saying that in many instances, religious celebrations, because they involve a good number of people, in many instances have taken on secular connotations. The Easter Bunny, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, seems to be the focus for a good number of people, and they probably are tying that into the whole idea of new life. Bunnies are symbols of fertility. They multiply rapidly, as you know. And
I know, we've had pet rabbits. That was the lesson I learned.
Yeah, and the rabbit, as well as the chicken, obviously was a symbol of fertility for a good number of people. But the whole idea of new life coming forth rapidly and with excitement, I think, has surfaced the whole idea of the bunny. But the bunny has no religious symbolism, basically, at all.
You know, I brought the children's Bible tonight because I thought it would just be something that at time where parents could sit down with their children and instead of exclusively reading about Peter Rabbit and Easter Bunny, that there are some beautiful stories in here about the Last Supper and the Passion, and that this would be a way to point out the spiritual aspect of Christmas to the children. And I brought a couple of things. The Easter Bunny, of course, with his chocolate eggs, but this was a gift of my uncle, this Hummel of the crucifixion and our Lord on the cross, and the two women, Mary and, I'm going to ask you who the other woman.
Mary Magdalene.
And Mary Magdalene, the two Marys. I thought that's who it was, but I wasn't sure, and I was meant to ask you before the program. We're raising children with God, and of course mothers are so key and such prominent figure, and here at the crucifixion, at the foot of the cross, some of the apostles were missing, but his mother and Mary Magdalene, the two Marys, were there. And this is a Haitian work of art. I know this woman who lives in Cambridge, and she goes to Haiti every year for about 2 weeks to work with the poor. And she buys some local art and brings it back, and then she has a Haitian art sale every year at her church in Cambridge. So we bought that there. But it's of the resurrection. It's on banana bark. This artist does it with banana bark, different shading of banana bark. But I wanted to just ask about Lent. I sort of have Easter, like the Easter itself, and then I think of Lent as the preparation for Easter. And I always, first of all, think of giving up things. And yet I'm more and more over the past few years realizing the importance of, instead of giving up, doing. So it's more positive than negative.
Mm-hmm.
Or giving up some of the things that are for me, it could be TV time or reading time, to pray more or to do more. I wanted your comments on Lent as a,
Mm-hmm.
as a
Yeah.
lead-in to Easter.
Lent is a pretty old tradition, especially within the Christian community. It's a time of preparation, as you mentioned, for celebrating of a big feast, the greatest feast of the Christian community, which would be the Feast of the Resurrection of Jesus, namely Easter. But Lent has a scriptural foundation too. In the life of Jesus, we always found that Jesus would take himself apart to pray in a quiet place in the desert on a mountaintop. And frequently the scriptures describe that period of time as 40 days or 40 nights. In the Old Testament too, we have periods of time that special personalities of the Old Testament would go off by themselves to prepare for a great event. And so in the life of the Christian, a period such as Lent takes on a tremendous meaning, a very valuable time. Who doesn't need quiet time, preparation time to do anything in life, especially something important, to renew our understandings of what faith is all about, to renew our relationship with Jesus, with the Lord God? We need that in everyday life. People don't take their time to establish their relationships or to establish their love with their children within a home, then quite obviously there's a great deal of something missing, a great opportunity missed in establishing that love experience.
When you say the preparation, we're such an athletic society, or we put such emphasis on sports, but it's a great example when the athlete is preparing for his Olympic competition and how much preparation goes in. And we don't have that emphasis on the spiritual, it seems, our families, our parenting experience for our children. But I think that preparation idea, if we could just transfer it from, there's no problem preparing for sports, but preparing for Easter. And for children and for us human beings, spiritual preparation, I think, is to think of ourselves within, the state of our soul, the state of ourselves. How do we look in the eyes of God? How do we appear? And hopefully we will prepare to look our best. And again, he doesn't care about the tent. He doesn't care about the tan or the hairstyle or the clothes. Right to the soul, I think, in the heart.
Sure.
And that preparation. And I think the different religions, I have, the only thing I know much about is Catholic preparation for Easter, and I think of confession. But you have an ecumenical bent, and perhaps, could you just comment on some of the other religions, how they prepare for Easter, particularly the Protestant religions?
Here in Shrewsbury, we have a wonderful ecumenical clergy. And since I've been to Shrewsbury just in the past year, we've met on several occasions just to prepare for celebrating. And we just met the other day to prepare for the celebration of Easter, but particularly by focusing our attention on a prayer service on Good Friday. Okay? And I think within most of the non-Catholic denominations, you would find that Lent takes on a similar type of purpose to ours, in the focus being to deny oneself and to enter into a spirit of prayer for the celebration of the Feast of the Resurrection, Easter. A good focus, however, is in this newer approach, not just of denying myself perhaps candy or going to movies, but instead taking those resources that are saved and giving them to the poor. And I think it's tremendous experience within a home to train young children to become sensitive and aware that when they deny themselves something which they love, such as candy or whatever, or maybe a few nickels or dimes or quarters, whatever they have for resource and presents from others, that they focus in on making someone else happy by helping them out, the people who are underprivileged and poor and other children who perhaps don't have the opportunities they have. It's tremendous, I think, formation for young children within a home.
Yeah.
And that takes place across the Christian world.
You know, we have an Easter gift. Britt Lay is going to sing a song for us.
Great.
He writes his own music and lyrics. He's going to sing Once and For All, and that'll be an Easter present.
Great.
Britt?
He said the answer lies within. It is closer than a breath. He showed the hollowness of sin, exposed the fallacy of death. He walked this world for you and me, so we would know a better way to go. He said the truth would set us free, if only we would come to know. So why not take a shorter way? Go side by side so we don't fall. Made straight by him who came to say, I walked it once and for all. His faith was driven to the bone. He taught the world a different way to see. And when he seemed so all alone, he knew that he was always free. He walked his path until the end. He could have hated those that final day. Instead, he loved them as his friends, gave them all, then slipped away. So if we stumble on our way, and we believe that we could fall, a gentle voice inside will rise to say, I walked it once and for all. Now I know I never walk alone. He travels on with us so we may learn. We're only finding our way home, with promise of a safe return. So why not take a shorter way? Go side by side so we don't fall. And we'll remember what he came to say. I walked it once and for all. I walked it once and for all.
Thank you, Britt. That was beautiful.